Okay, it's like 4:30. It's so crazy too. It's like I'll wake up and I'll be laying there and I'll be thinking, okay, am I awake or am I awake? And trying to decide, like, how far am I going to take this awake thing? I'm going to check what time it is. I'm going to go pee. I'm going to wake still up because that's going to happen. And I mean, that just happens just with my awareness. I swear to God, I can just be laying there and just coming into like awareness and thinking about things and stuff. And look at her, and then her head will just come up like she hears me thinking. And but when I was, all night, I kept having this awareness that I was getting a headache in my braid. I don't know. I got to figure out something. I have tried so many things. Like, I love my hair. Like, I'm not bitching about my hair and saying, oh, I'm going to get rid of my hair. Because I think that's what happens too sometimes with people. I don't have to talk loud to talk over her, not talk too loud to wake people up. Um, she's still sleepy. Oh, I'm trying to get a little closer. So what was I going to say? Something about, oh yeah, because the shampooing and the braid stuff. Maybe I'm gonna make my own formula of shampoo or something. I don't know. I feel like that's more the direction I'm going because all the different things that people say just doesn't go good with my hair. I swear, a lot of people who use baking soda and love it, they have curly hair, and the and it all depends on our texture and stuff. But the baking soda one just dries my hair out and it makes it a weird texture. The honey, the rice water, the apple cider vinegar, all of them. So, and like when I got some of this clay stuff, it was supposed to be non-toxic cleaning shampoo stuff. Is I was like going and researching all different things, and I tried that stuff. I've made clove water, rosemary water. Like, I'm gonna come up with something that feels like my hair gets clean, that my hair still likes. Because it seems like my hair reacts to all this stuff. Like, it does not like to be dried out. And so it just coats itself. Um, Tomorrow I have my recheck with the surgeon, so I'm kind of glad about that. Especially this one incision has been bothering me. I think there's stitches inside, and like inside, and then there's stitches on the outside. And I don't know. It seems like maybe the threads are poking through or something. I don't know. Something hurts down there. Um, and oh, but on the braid thing, is I've tried the bonnets. And the bonnet thing is so like ends up like you wake up. I don't know how these people and people make it like it's some sort of fashion thing. Like, all these girls do videos in their bonnets and stuff. It's like, I look silly for one thing, and for another thing, it doesn't like, I don't know, it doesn't work for me. So then I saw somebody say, well, if the bonnet doesn't work, try the beanie. So it's a satin lined beanie, and it holds tighter, but it's still, and it heats like it's hot on your head. And back a long time ago, women always, like in high school, girls would even save orange juice cans, and that is what they used as their rollers. They would use these giant ass rollers. They would sleep with them in their hair, and then they would get up in the morning, let it down to Farrah Fawcett hair. And they always had big girl, and the girls that were like on drill team and the cheerleaders and stuff, sometimes they would come to school early in the morning and still have their hair up in their curlers. And girls back then always wore these curlers in their hair, or women always put like a hairnet on because they would go get their hair done, and then they would want to keep it, so they would put this hairnet on. Is a lot of women had through a certain period, they had short kind of hair and all teased up. Like, there was a lot of teasing and these hairstyles and stuff. And they would go, like, the beauty salon was like a big thing. Women would all go and talk and gossip. They really had this, like, I don't know, kind of like a dream life if you think about how women are living now. Like, women out there fighting to get ahead and just getting beat down like everybody else. And it does make more job competition. Like, the arguments that they had against with the women's movement makes sense. It's just like the women's movement, it had to go and play out. Like we had to see how it played out. But there's so many things that you could see it coming. Like, oh, you could see that coming, you could see that coming. And then there's other things, like you see it and it's like it makes so much sense now. It's like, yeah. Because, the market, the whole thing, the whole system, it was always going to fall flat. I think that they tried some of these other things at different times, but it's like they couldn't keep up with the changes. Like media, like they thought that they had it control. But even with their control, there's an energy of change. And they can't control that. They can try and control our minds, but they can't control the universe. And this is a cosmic event. This is like an energy change. They can't change that. That's coming in. And so all their control was always going to fail them. And who knows, like kind of in my mind see, a couple of Dracos and Reptilian, a couple of the guys that like are into taking over the world, just like it always happens. Just like the Yahtzees came over here and like we thought that we won, but they won because they took us over. And but like that same kind of mentality, oh, we know more now. We'll go out and take over another place, another reality, another planet. I don't know what in other places, we were just taught, it's planet, space, all this concept and stuff. But I think a lot of other places have the concept of realms and realities. I think they even tried showing that in movies. And, like I watched it, then I would be like, oh yeah, see, that's what it is. Realms and realities, just like in the Barbie movie, where she like goes from one and then goes through like this little portal space and then goes into another one, and it's a completely different reality, and she travels through different realities to get to her destination. It's like that is what it is all. That is what it is. And they've tried to control and conceal and tell us what reality's what, and try to bring us all under this umbrella of like the firmament. That is about the vibration like containment. So there's a space to work in, so we can hold a lot of different energies, because all the different energies are learning in different ways. But it's not just like about the learning, like that is for our DNA expand. Like if you think of your soul as energy, and an energy that is trying to self-identify, become itself, become more, to the point where it can start showering out its own energies. So it's like our energy is always moving towards something bigger, something better. I don't know, some of us could, our goal is to become a planet one day. Some people, I heard a guy saying, he wants to be a dragon. Like, it just depends on what your goals are. And I don't know how big your energy has to be what things and what realms or whatever. But I just know everything is like these realms, and that they have used fear to contain us. And fear has caused so much trauma in people. Like, I saw this video of this girl talking about all these people who are so, like, this is their safety thing. It's like their pacifier. It's like to pacify their fear. Like they think they're doing something, and what they're doing is causing more problems with their own health. So what they and what they think they're doing, when it flips the other direction, when it's they only see one side, and this can be in life, in all things, because this has been a constant throughout my life of it, seeing something one way and then it being shown the other side of it. So these people just don't realize like that they are trying to comfort their fear, but really it's like they're trying to do like take care of their fear, but that's not what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to learn how to not have fear, how to get over fear, how to, control your fear, like control your mind to get yourself. And to me, it's like, realizing that you're eternal, realizing that this place is a simulation, realizing, um, the bigger purpose in life. So those more expansive perspectives is what gives me peace. And so that's, why I try and share that kind of stuff, because to me, it gives peace. The world they've created creates fear, and fear that, if you put one of these on, you could possibly save your life. The only thing that you can't save your life, just like you can't end your life. There's nothing, you don't have control of it. You can't, just like you have control of when you got born. You don't have control of when you're leaving. You don't have control of how you're leaving, when you're leaving, in the past, because I believe that's changing. I believe we're becoming more sophisticated as beings so that it is in our control. It's not out of our control. I believe it was part of the gaming system, is why it was out of our control. Like, you just came in and played this part, but we're at this time of change, and these are the kinds of things that are changing. Like, I think it's going to be, us learning. That's why there's going to be these miracles and stuff of, like, where you think for sure, like, a car blows up and somebody just comes walking out. It's like, like the Game of Thrones where the fire went and then she came walking out and they were like, oh my God, she's a god. Well, there's going to be, I think there already is in some people's realities, these miracles happening. It gets them to question things and open their minds and to see the bigger picture, the bigger thing here, and to start understanding, like, death isn't something like we have control. Like, if you do everything right, you can stop death. No, that's not true. Death comes when it comes, how it comes, and that's the way out. That's your ride out. Just like how they've shown in the movies, it's like this wagon train or something up in the sky, chugging through the sky, picking up the dead. it's that's like the kind of stuff they show in the movies. That's all it is. It's just like you have a time you leave. The ride's going by and you're going. And the trauma after is for the people, so that they go through the loss and experience it. Yesterday morning, my youngest brother messaged us and said that his wife, they've been together for like 30 years or something, that his wife is, well, I don't think 30 years yet, but almost. They got together when they were teenagers. And that her grandma died yesterday. I was thinking, dang, man, she was old the last time I saw her. She must be really old. So I said something to my brother, like, how old was she? She was pretty old, wasn't she? He's like 95. 95 or 96. She had a good life. And he said it was really cool, too, is when she was going to go, that she, that morning, or whatever it was like that morning, and she just said something like, well, I'm ready to go be with my husband, so bye, guys, and shut her eyes, and she was gone. She was like this real, and see, and that's the kind of thing that I think it's going to become more of, too. It's like when you're ready to leave the game, it will be up to you, not this like event, because we're going to have learned these lessons. But it was also really cool is how they're so impacted by the loss. And you think about like this person's constant in your life, especially for that long, like, the woman had been around nearly 100 years and had done a lot of it without her partner. And, she stayed, as that was her partner. She didn't go out and date or whatever. And, so the, but the loss, the impacts, you're supposed to go through the loss. There's all these lessons, and there's all different types of loss. there's so many different types. So you can see like there's so many different lessons and way to learn, and why the universe has us all learning at different speeds, at different angles, and different ways of seeing everything. So it is all of us that gives the universe perspective, gives it a view of possibilities. And but anyways, the loss experience has to do with growth and learning and expansion. And so, and just think about, anyways, if you were born at the same time this date came of when you were leaving, and you knew that date, because I think I saw that in a sci-fi movie before, and you knew that date, you had that date, the pressure going in, like most people couldn't face that date. So, we have to go in blind. We have to go in, but the thing is that nothing really happens to us. Like in their storyline, what we all experience, it's things happening to people. It's like, oh my God. Like what a beautiful thing to just go, hey, bye guys, go with my husband, we got a date, see ya, shut your eyes and be gone. Like that's fucking like, that's cool. But, a lot of the other experience has to do like long, slow, drawn out deaths bring up so many different things. Quick, sudden, brings up so many different things. They all have unique things that they bring to the surface, and different reasons why people go through these different patterns and stuff of learning. And it fits in with your other patterns of learning, of your other soul journey. So there's reasons. It's like this balance, counterbalance that's always happening to give a perspective so you can see, because so many things it's just you just don't understand because you don't have no experience. You don't know it. You don't see it. You don't understand. Like, why the hell would they do that? But then when you go through an experience, then you understand, like, oh, this happens, and that's why, and it changes. Oh, and man, yesterday, we're going to finish it today, but if you have not seen this baby reindeer thing, I had heard and heard and heard, like on TikTok, I would see people all the time, like, say stuff about baby reindeer. Baby reindeer this, baby reindeer that. I'd have no idea, so I had no perspective at all. So I still, like, even though I know that they were all talking about it, I have no idea what they were saying about it. Like, what they were meaning and saying when they were saying the things, because I had no perspective. It just was words to me. And so then, while my daughter's been here, she's like, let's watch some weird thing or whatever. She's like, I really want you to see this baby reindeer. I was like, oh, I don't have Netflix. And so she signed into hers. Like, you can't do that anymore or something, but I think because she's in the house that it's letting her. And, but, she won't exit out of it, I'm sure, when she goes, and I'll see. But I bet you it exits itself out on her phone. I bet you there's some kind of links and stuff that we just don't, they just keep going. And she brought up the insurance. They raised her insurance. See, they're raising everybody's, and raising it in these absurd ways for us to stand up and say, fuck you guys. I'm not paying you this fucking shit. Fuck off. Like in a wreck, they'd maybe give me $1,500 at best. And they're telling me I gotta pay $2,000 fucking dollars a year. Fuck off. It's fucking bullshit, man. I'm fucking so sick of this shit. So, but it's all of us having to be outraged, and we all have different periods of time when this happens. Just like, I didn't understand this baby reindeer thing. And so we watched, I think it's like 8 episodes or something, and they're like 30 minutes each or something, like 27 minutes. And we started watching it yesterday, and it was 4 episodes. It's intense too. And then 4 more to go. Maybe some that are longer, I don't know. Because it seems like, man, it's pretty heavy. But it's so fucking good. Oh my God. I love the way this guy just puts himself out there. He really just shows such a vulnerable side of himself, because it's all this true story of this guy's experience of being stalked. And it's really good. I don't want to give the whole thing away either, but I knew going in too, so I'll tell you what I knew going in. Is this guy is some Scottish comedian. He went to London because he wanted to become famous. He was really young too, and he met different people along the way. And he would try going to like artsy places where people would be. And it was a oh yeah, okay. So he went to and he met some different people. In the meetings of these people, he met this older man, and this older man was, I think this kid was like 22, and this old man was like 57. But he was in the industry. He's a writer, real successful. I don't even know what all he's done, but this kid was impressed off of the show he'd been on or something, or the show he wrote for or something. And so this kid wanted a hand, like, yeah, man, he wanted to be friends with this guy. He saw like that was, he didn't look at it so much as like it was his end, but it was also like, this is the kind of friends you want to have. This is where you want to be. This is who you want to be hanging out with. It wasn't like he was opportunistic, like trying to use him. But there is that sense with a lot of those people who got into that industry. There's parts of these lessons. And so, because it brought up things like, what will you do? What will you do for this? What will you do for that? And it shows that in this show too, with a lot of people who went into this industry had to be faced with that. And, they've had to go through some dark stuff, but it's all these different lessons. So this guy, and he's putting this story just so out there, and it's so good, like, fuck. Just the way that the stuff has happened to this guy is just like wild. And so he went, I was hanging out with this old guy. This old guy was, befriending him. Like, come on, hang out. But this guy was always on doing drugs, like hardcore drugs. And this kid was young, and he must be, he's really cute and stuff. But, he's in the show as his older self. And so, when he was really younger, kind of boy, he must have been like really cute boy that this old guy was going to invest all his time into, because he would spend all these weekends and stuff. He spent so much time with them and always paying for all these drugs and stuff like that. And at first the guy didn't realize that he was being molested and fondled and raped and stuff like that while he was on drugs. It took him a while to figure that out. One of the times was the shower, and when the water hit him in the rear. And there's got to be more to this kid's story and his line of abuse throughout his life. Like, I haven't finished the story yet, so there could show more. But he is like so subservient kind of to this guy. Because even after he wakes up and that happens, he's in there showering and the water hits there, and he knew immediately something's tore up. And he starts screaming and crying because he's in so much pain. And the guy comes to the door, and he opens the door, and he starts hugging him like it's his dad or something. Like, Dad, I'm hurt. It's just like, but he's showing all this stuff. That's what I'm saying. He's so vulnerable, but it's so fucking, when you see these toxic patterning, this is the stuff I've been talking about. Like, this guy has no boundaries and stuff, and it shows how toxic it created his, in his own life. And so he's having this, and before it got to that point, the guy, when they were just hanging out doing drugs, so before the guy started molesting him that he knows of, or that he has shown, because it took him a while to catch on. There was like some incidences that happened where it was like other screaming ones. There was one where they were doing some hardcore drugs too, like fuck. And he started puking, and the guy decided that was a good time to just, put his hand up in there. And the guy screamed, and tears are going down his eyes. And, but he kept going back and kept going back. But before any had gotten to that point, the guy was just in the grooming stage, when you're like, we're my best friend. And then he takes off abandonment, creates that abandonment rejection in somebody. So then that person is dealing with that. So there's more of a draw. Like, you want to be around that person more. It's like, God, why did they leave with it? And it wasn't so much like that. Like, I had to go to work, but there was a huge loss to this kid. And he kept seeing it as like, you know, he wanted to get back to those parties, he wanted to get back and hang out with this guy. This guy was like, had it all going on, and he felt like his life was super empty. And he was going and doing these acting classes and stuff, and he met a girl in the acting classes. And so they moved in together and were hanging out. And then that guy came back, and then he got a hold of this guy every weekend. And the girl, she was letting him go. She was getting mad because he had left even on her birthday and go spend all his weekends with this guy. But he was telling her, like, I've got to do this for my career. And she goes, you don't just sit there and do drugs with this guy all fucking weekend. She goes, if he's like, well, this is what I got to do to, you know, get where I need to be in my career. This guy's helping me get on this show for my writing or something. But the guy was like super hard on him, on his writing. He wasn't helping him. And he's using him and giving this guy a lure, you know, luring him along. And this is how these people work. That's why it goes all the time. That's the personalities that they're looking for these certain things too, that put them into certain positions. And so then this kid is wanting to, you know, hook on, and is willing to, you know, put himself aside, go, you know, sit there and be all strung out and drugged out with this guy. Then the guy starts molesting him and doing this stuff, and he continues to go. He doesn't tell his girlfriend or anything. He continues to go, and even on the one where he woke up and he had in the rear, he ended up staying for, and that was her birthday weekend, I think. She was mad that he left like on a Thursday or Friday or something, and he didn't come back till like the next Wednesday. He stayed just gone, like he was just like, he seemed to be like falling apart. And I don't remember if I've even seen what happened, why, if he quit going and hanging out. I don't remember. I still have some things I can't remember. I keep noticing that I still have blogs, but still my brain, I feel like it's getting so much better. But anyway, so him and his girlfriend end up breaking up. Then he just goes out and he is very confused. He's very confused about his sexuality. He finds himself being drawn more towards men now, and he feels very confused, and he feels like the guy did it to him on purpose. And so then he starts getting really into porn on the computer. He can't keep off of it, and it keeps going towards the, you know, the more fetishy kind of stuff, I guess, and a lot more like a hardcore man thing or something. So he's drawn more to the stuff that's making him more confused, and it gets him off. Like he gets like really likes it. And so he keeps getting mad at himself, and he keeps feeling so much shame. He talks about the shame and the guilt and confusion. And so then he starts going out and he just starts sleeping with everybody, just going out and that is such a dangerous thing to your self-respect. And people don't know it. They think like it's, oh, score, this person liked me. Oh, that person wanted to sleep with me, that person. And it's like, after a while of this supercharged like excitement, like, oh, they want that little dopamine hit, then it starts dragging you down. Like, well, they don't really like me, do they? Because they don't really, you know, want anything to do with me after that. And starts dragging you down and start feeling like you're disrespecting yourself, and more confusion and stuff. So he was going through this like period of time where he's just having sex with everybody. And then he shows more about this person who he ends up meeting because he goes on like some gay dating websites, ends up falling for this trans person, but he's lying to her and not telling her the truth, and then he's got to question himself and stuff. So he's doing all these different kinds of things, but he works in this bar, and this woman comes in and she's just beat down, like she's just an empty shell of a person. And she sits down at the bar, and he asks her what she wants, and she can't afford to buy anything. He's like, well, how about I'll just give you a cup of tea on the house? Because he felt sorry for her because she was so beat down, because inside of him, the part of him he's hiding, he's so beat down. So he feels so much like, and nobody is seeing You know, nobody's seeing where he's at in his life. And so he is looking at her and he's having this like, and this is a vibratory thing too. Like this is where your vibration meets up with these lessons. But these are hardcore ones because this woman, the biggest mistake he ever made was being nice to her for 1 second because she's a stalker. She's been in jail for it. It starts the whole fucking thing, and he has no boundaries. He can't, and he's like questioning himself. Like there's a whole bunch of things that he plays out because he narrates it and it shows it and everything. It's really, really good. But it's got so many good things about the healing. But you can see like the energetic thing of him and this woman coming in, learning, and it has so much to do with boundaries. Like you can see, like if he would have set better boundaries, if he wouldn't have played into some of her stuff, she became so obsessed. She becomes so freaking crazy, and there's 4 episodes still to go. And I'm like, man, this woman. My daughter's like, you just don't even know yet. Like, just wait and see. It's about to get way crazier. It's like, oh my God, there's people out here like this. There's like, it's wild. It's wild. And what this guy puts himself through, and there's parts of him where I completely related to so many things. And, I think a lot of women will relate to a lot of the stuff of, and people who have, put themselves, into certain situations or bad things because they wanted what that person had. And then it ends up, there's always this kickback. There's always this other side, the counterpart that, as a part of the experience, just the same thing with people chasing their insecurities. And now all these things they've created for us to hide our insecurities behind are toxic for us and making people sick. And there's so many people right now getting injections and stuff. And it's like, but it's all, going to be coming out, that how toxic all this stuff is. Like, because I keep seeing it already. This stuff that they're injecting now moves, it migrates, it's pulling on other things, it's causing base cancer and stuff. Over here where I've been dealing with mine, it is like there's a lump right there that I can feel, but it doesn't feel all crusty. I'm still doing the soursop soup and the horse paste, which she's had 3 of the antibiotics. Yesterday afternoon or late morning when I looked at her vagina, it was way better. So on 2 doses, it was way better. And that was 2, I think, of the horse paste, or 3. And so I gave her another horse paste. I'm going to do the horse paste for like a month. Because all of her little cysts and stuff are smaller too. And if it is true about the parasites that are in our body, that our body creates little capsules to capsule around them and creates little tumors or cysts or whatever to hold them, then hopefully if those are going away, I'm killing the stuff inside. So that's why I want to hit hard and keep going. But she was doing so much better. We even went for like a 2-mile walk almost, because it was our 3rd walk. We'd already been over at one-on-one walk, and then we went to the little dog park next door. And then my daughter came out and wanted to go for a walk in the woods. So we went and walked it for 1.5 miles in the woods. And she did it the whole way. My daughter was like, well, maybe just leave her since she doesn't really like to do it so much and she's so slow. And I was like, no, that would really hurt her feelings. I gotta take her. She is so slow. Like, she's like so slow. Like, especially when you're walking with other dogs that are hiking. Let's go, let's go. They're way ahead. So I was like, and she stops, smells something. She's always looking for puddles. She'll stop she reminds me of a hippo. She'll stop in them and wave her face around, and she's got to go up to the grass, and a little cow side of her comes out. She's got to graze through the grass, find some grass that's good. She's just like so many different personalities in this girl. And I always have this vision when her and I are out on those roads of me being a kid and her being a horse and me walking her. I've had that so many times. I feel certain she must have been my horse at some point in some life somewhere. And, but she did that whole walk, went the whole way. The only thing is she's being really grumpy, territorial to these other dogs. And I feel like she gets her feelings hurt too. Like respect is really important to her. I feel like she had a pride. I feel like she was a king of the jungle at some point. And so she does have a thing about respect. So she is upset because she feels like, oh, they're just going in my kitchen. They're just going up to you and think that they can get a treat from you. Stuff like that. And so, anyways, and she very much gets into, like, she's a food hoarder. She's a food hoarder, a toy hoarder. She does not like people to eat her food or take her toys. And, but that is like a lot of dogs. But anyways, it becomes a lot more when it's a big dog. Then people are like, ah, look at her. It's like when it was a little dog, because her polar opposite one is the smallest one here, and she's the oldest one here, and she's the same personality, same bitchy. Even I don't know who was eating what the hell was going on. I think my back was to the sink or something, and Lily got a little too close because she'll go and she's the tiniest dog, but she just scrounges nonstop, you know, when she can find the littlest crumbs. Okay. And whatever it was, her and Stella got pissed off at each other. And Stella gets up in her face, starts barking. Lily is like having none of it. She'll fucking latch onto your face and jump on your head. Stella's just like, stop it. So she got attacked by Lily yesterday. It's like, you gotta stop. You gotta just stop with your bitching. She chased Bert. That was another thing she did yesterday. She ran and chased Bert. And went to all the other end of the dog park yard. And then once she got down there, they came walking up to see if we wanted to go on a walk. So she ran that whole way. So she really did a lot of exercise yesterday. She did a ton. And so she's doing way better is all I'm saying. And we slept all night. There was, but it was like I was aware, like when she would move around and be uncomfortable, but she wasn't getting up and crying and going to the door and sitting up and just staring at me. None of that. She just moved around on the bed and got more comfortable. And sometimes she grunted and groaned, like what's she doing now? So she still is not perfectly comfortable, but also her glucosamine came, and I've been doing a lot with the loading her up on the glucosamine, so that should start helping too. So I'm sure she's gonna start doing better. And plus, I feel like that the horse-based thing, I feel like it really does freaking. And she probably had a bunch of toxins or parasites or whatever in her from that big cyst thing on the back of her leg that when it had to release stuff into her blood, because that's what I was going to say about my mom's cat, who had that big one on the back of her leg and had to have it surgically removed 2 times. Then when it was growing back the 3rd time, my mom was like, because the cat's like 16 too, and my mom was like, I'm not going to get it removed again. And so she started doing the goat one. Like the horse one is the one I prefer now, because I did the goat one with Stella, and I was like, and it's a lot more liquid and stuff. The paste one I like, because you can just like take a little, the gel one, like not the paste one, the gel, and you can take it, it's like you can hold it in a little thing, like a booger or something. You can get it and hold it, and then you can just stick it in the back of your throat and swallow it, so you don't have to taste it or anything. It's very minty. It tastes like you're eating toothpaste to me. And so I can do that too with Stella. I can just take a little chunk and put it in her throat. And the paste one is like it's like a paste. You gotta lick it off. It's not like you can hold it. It's like you gotta smear it or something. And the other is a liquid. So, anyways, I like the gel one. And I'm gonna about my mom with that. She had said about, because I've seen so many different things now about the tumors and the parasites and all this stuff, but that when they uh, oh yeah, because my other daughter, she was just talking about this too, because that's what killed her dog, was when they removed the tumor, then it released all these toxins out into the dog, and made the dog get sick with, I think that's what gave him the cancer. But that is when I was trying to tell them, you got to do the cleanse, but they went with the chemo route. And it was the surgery removing, because they took out their spleen or something. So they're always removing shit out of our bodies that they shouldn't be. Our bodies can heal themselves. We just got to give them time. But then they removed stuff, and that empty space created bloat, and that's what killed them. And so anyways, I mean, the whole thing with them removing parts and stuff out of us, but the whole thing about, I've heard this several different times about when you take off a tumor and stuff and it releases all this stuff inside and that they can get really sick. Well, that's when you got to hit them with the the horse paste or something, some kind of a killer, but not, chemo like what they're using. That's like, just think about what they spray in the sky, it's just like, then they're just going to inject it into you. It's like hardcore. That other stuff, I mean, it's got some kind of chemical in it, so it is bug killer, but it's not as harsh. So, and then if you're using other things too, antimicrobial, antibiotic, and you have good gut health, it's not overrun with bad bacteria, and a good housing facility for other parasites and worms and shit. So that's why you gotta keep your body in its optimum, eco-friendly, not too friendly. No, the parasite is friendly, but you know what I'm saying, where it's eco-friendly to your health, which is so weird too, because it's just like, it's like a barometer or something, because it's not even real. It's just something for you to be able to look at to understand if you're healthy or not healthy. And just like the hair color thing. And what was that one? It was something that somebody had just said something. I just had some other comments where I was sure these are bots. So like, will you please stop spreading this misinformation about copper and it's killing people and all this stuff. I'm like, oh my God. Shroom. There's this other person that I left their comment and they were doing the same thing. Copper's so toxic and you're spreading this misinformation. You're killing people. And so many people went on and commented on theirs. I was like, oh my God. Oh, and the stuff going on too, because it is coming up. It's moving up in the what is that? The Richter scale of intensity of what they're trying to create. Because now they've got Putin and Xi Jinping or whatever involved in this, Iranian real is place, and so more threats or whatever. But you got to remember too that those ones are on the good side, even though it's like China. But I just saw this video. I'll show this video. It's that same guy I talked about before. He does a lot of good videos about this, like the Oceanies and all that kind of stuff. But he leans into religion still. But he was saying something about the 4 horsemen are this one flag. It's got all the colors, the red, black, and so that it can be kind of representative. I don't know. I just know we've got to be close. Like, we got to be so close. Like, everything is just, like, really leading into the whole thing of, like, everything collapsing. Like, things are collapsing all over the place. And, we're in an inevitable collapse. But it's like one that's gonna be good for us because it's the ending of our slavery. Yeah, it's kind of sad. It's like these chicken places that they blow up and stuff, but they're holding all those chicken prisoners. It'd be better to be dead, to be out of their prison. So even though that they're killed, but we're not gonna be killed. We're moving forward to create a new reality. So we're not being killed. The only way you'd be killed is if you don't believe you're eternal and you left the game yourself. And I would say that is about lessons. Because I feel like that there's going to be a lot of people leaving, and that's going to stress people out. But you're supposed to go through the stress. You're supposed to go through the loss, because that is what creates the healing that is very, defined to what you're there to experience. So it's like written for you. It's your story that's written for you. So you got to take the benefits of it. But, as a spiritual person, I still have to say, like, that, it's all part of just the lessons. They're not really going. And that could be that that their lessons just have to do so that they can just meet up with you over there once we go through the part of getting there. Because there's so much about the getting there is what creates the changes. And so those of us who are going through the experiences to get us there, but that doesn't mean that the souls, aren't coming or aren't welcome or something, because they leave during all of this stuff. There's a whole part of your learning and stuff when you go to your life review. So, and once they complete their task, like, you don't know what their task is. So don't get caught up in thinking like, oh, my partner died and now I'm not going to see him in Age of Aquarius and stuff. Well, it could be you're very well, but you're supposed to do a lot of healing of whatever that separation creates in you. Abandonment, rejection, loss, all of the different things, shame, guilt, so many things with loss go with shame and guilt too. Like, I wish I would have done this different. I wish I would have said this different. I wish I wouldn't have done that. I wish I wouldn't have done this. Like, it's like you replay yourself. It's like you go through a life review with that person. So that person's loss to you brings up a lot of stuff that you need to look at. So that it's very significant. Like, the different people you lose and what they bring up and stuff is a part of your healing. It's a part of your growing. And there's so many people who want to ignore it. Like, what was that one? Oh, yeah. Because I was just talking to somebody about somebody who had lost somebody. And I was like, well, when did that happen? And it was a significant amount of time where I was like, you can't get stuck in loss. Like, you do get stuck. Like, people get stuck in loss all the time. And when the different stages, they don't move through them. And you got to move through them. If you get stuck, you got to keep yourself moving through them. And it's easy to get stuck, I think, if you don't have any spiritual background, if not, you don't understand why these things happen and what's going on and why you have to lose this person and stuff. But those basic more ways of going through loss too have a significance. Like, everything does. There's nothing that you could do wrong. There's nothing that anybody could do wrong. What everybody's doing is what they're supposed to be doing. It's when you get into a point of being able to see and observe all these different things, that is when you're working on yourself to be able to be like allowing everyone to be at their own rate, at their own speed. Like, I definitely have said some things to my daughter, because she's waking up on some things, and so then I'll say some other things, and she's not there yet. And so then I'll still sound super wacky, and then I'll question myself, like, okay, am I too vigorous? Like, am I trying to be like, oh, what about this? What about this? And it's like, but then if you're not, then it's like you're in denial in this 3D story. You're not representing yourself. So it's very twisty and turny, when you're questioning yourself and trying to find your own balance and stuff. And I to me, it has so much to do with, just learning to understand myself, learning to question myself, learning to slow myself down, learning to be like, well, do I really need to say that? How important is that? And, just some of the things, just be like, oh, I don't need to say that. And, just letting go of things, like, but, she's talking so much about Diddy or Drake or any of these things. Like, I'm always going about 2-3 levels up. Like, I've got the friggin' reptilians, the Dracos, like, who's eating who? I'm always going further, and it's like, what? Okay, wait a minute, like, this is too crazy. It's like, okay, well, you're gonna find out. This is true life. This place that you're at is not where you think you are. It's not what they've been telling you. and it's always like too much. So it's like, oh, okay, too much. I'm gonna just reel it in a little bit. Go like, and so it's nice to have this baby reindeer thing to focus on too, and it's like so purging. Like I can't believe how much I can relate to this guy with the periods of time of having no boundaries and having yourself in these situations and the things that he explains, how he explains how he felt. It's like, yes, so true. Like I would think anybody who's trying to heal and see things, you know, this movie would help you to see different sides of yourself and stuff in situations. If you have problems with boundaries, if you have problems of letting people abuse you, and you putting their feelings ahead of your feelings, that's a big one for sure. When he was talking about something about being super uncomfortable, but him thinking more about the other person's comfort. It's like, yeah, that's what it's like when you have no boundaries. You're just, well, I'm having a rough time, but their time is way rougher, and that's what, gets them into trouble. Because you gotta have healthy boundaries. You can't do that. It's not good for the other person. And his just happens to be an extreme case where she's a crazy stalker lady who's desperate to be in love, and it's super sad too, is that she is, you see this person and how desperate she is to be loved, and you think, I don't know that she's ever experienced it. And it's just so desperate to want to. Like she wants to have this love, this romance, and she's so pushy. She pushes so hard to get what she wants, and that's one thing too. It's like the universe is giving her lessons. She doesn't want to do her lessons. She wants to push on what she wants, this inside of her. But the universe has a healthy way of going about things and an unhealthy way about going about things. The unhealthy way is always going to have this repercussion, just like the unhealthy way of going and changing your face or your body. There's going to be repercussions. So there's there's a downside, and there's a healthy way to go at it, learning how to accept yourself and your insecurities and stuff. Like I still am like weirded out about this BBL Drizzy Drake, like, and it's being made fun of like on everything. That's one thing. My daughter, she's like on this Kendrick and Drake battle, and and she's on Twitter and all this stuff. It's like people like talking about, like, oh my gosh, like Drake. I feel like this is his humiliation time. I said there's gonna be people who are gonna be so humiliated. There's gonna be so much humiliation going with what their stuff, and I don't know. He's still in denial, saying he's not a pedo, but it's just like, how many girls are of age on your call list? How many hours do you spend? Like, you're spending all this time talking to Millie Brown. Like, what the fuck, dude? It's creepy. And, but him going to get in this BBL thing, and then they make a whole nickname. And so BBL Drizzy, like if you hear that, that's what they're making fun of. And it's on commercials and stuff now, apparently. I don't know. Like, that's what I'm saying. It's just like, in the Diddy, he comes out with his fucking apology, and that blew up in his face. It was so ridiculous. It's like, dude, this is the least of your problems. What are you talking about? I was like, what? And then he just got himself in deeper too, and then all this stuff, like apparently one of his wives was killed in a suspicious manner, so now all this abuse stuff is coming out about him, all this crazy ass stuff. So I would imagine that case is going to be reopened. Like, it won't take long. Yeah. And that, I was thinking about too is, the lure and stuff, because I was thinking, back in the day, people went to go to Hollywood, entertainers, people who wanted to entertain and, certain personalities, and they went there to go into that industry of entertainment, and And that's when the banker, the Z banker, the corporate, whoever you want to see these overlords as, in their tentacles, they saw the benefit of how the rest of us would like look up to them, especially like in the 40s and stuff. The Hollywood glamour. It was a Hollywood glamour time, and everybody wanted to be like the movie stars. And they wore elegant gowns. They smoked. They were just like very, bougie and stuff. And so they became a very big draw to people. And I think that's when they could see, like, hey, we got something going here. Like, we got control. All we got to do is control these people. And now we got control of all these people. And so, that's what they did. And there was a lot of misery and stuff, I think. There's a lot of, sad things that happened. There was suicides, murders, and all sorts of stuff that went on. I think there's so much stuff. Because what was it that's coming out too? Some business. It was all like a cover-up thing to draw in models to just use them for traffic. So they, all this stuff is going to keep coming out. But then, so they did that, get people who have like charismatic and talented, and then push them to get their, and if they had a lot of people who grasped onto them, then they would promote them more and try and control them more. And like they'll go to any link to control you. And but they'll lead you in, like this guy with the drugs and stuff in the beginning. Like they'll lead him in with money, drugs, women, whatever it is, to get him to be, trust into the, like, wow, yeah, we're here for you. But it's really all just this game. And so they get all those people and get them under their control, and that's at all different levels too. And some of them are willing to lose everything and break free, and some are scared, and some are scared that videos are going to come out of different things because they did so much with the drugging these people. But that's when you go to the next level. That's when you move into this second tier that they created, the celebrity influencer tier, where they brought in these people. Because then it's like Kim, like even Diddy and stuff is involved. Like J-Lo has been involved, like apparently in some really bad stuff, but for sure Kim is involved in like blackmail and stuff. Like they were doing the same thing. Like this is how a lot of these people would get in. Like they would know about these things that these people would do, and they would blackmail them. And so they would be doing crimes too. And they would even lure them. So there was like a lot of drugging people and setting stuff up. People had fucking videos all going in their houses all the time. And it's like, well, like who in the world would want to be friends with people like this? Like what in the hell is this any way of living? And then, but that was the group, the second tier, this celebrity influencer group, whatever. The other people all were like, oh, that's the lifestyle for me. I want to go and do that. And I want to just, have someone pay my way and give me fancy clothes and fancy weddings and stuff. And they didn't know the dark side of it. They thought they could just do it by wearing their makeup good and getting BBLs and stuff. It's like, well, it's more than that. And these people are all criminals. Like, why would you want to hang out with all these people? You can't trust any of them. They're corrupt. They're, would hang their mother out to dry. They don't give a shit. And, well, I guess, like, they've got family. But I think that even at a certain point, Kim would toss Chris aside. But I think some of them are all clones anyways. Like, fuck. Yesterday I was watching this movie. This Lifetime movie was on. And it was an old one. It was the first clone baby. I don't know how old that movie was. It seemed like I was pretty old. I was trying to think. Oh, yeah, because Bridget Fonda was in it. She's a reporter who's reporting on this. And the person who's having the baby, the man and the woman had a kid who ended up getting hit by in a car wreck, ended up getting killed in a car wreck when they were young. And so they wanted that kid back. That's the thing too. It's like the ethical or moral stuff. So even if you go and you get a clone, like you go clone these cells and you go give birth to an identical looking person, the soul, that doesn't mean the same soul would come. It would be a different soul, I would think. If you're rebirthing something, it wouldn't be that same soul's just sitting there waiting like, well, are they going to come? Am I going to go back? And so then you would have this other soul, this other energy that would come in. And that energy would be there for that experience, this learning thing. Because I think that the parents would pigeonhole the kid. Well, no, honey, you don't like vanilla. You like chocolate, remember? Oh, honey, no, you don't like dogs. You like cats, remember? Oh, honey, you like to draw. You don't like to play piano, remember? It's like, so the soul that would be there for that experience would be there to learn these other things. And this would be an extension of these other people's lessons. But it's like, like when you're trying to replace something for what it looks like, you can't replace it for what it was. You have a brief moment in time. You have a window of time for that experience. You can't duplicate that experience. You can't replicate it. You can't make it. You can't. And that's I think the part of where science has got people confused and stuff. And so, like even if they, if there's 10 Kims and 15 Britneys and I don't know how many Kevin Hart says he's got a whole bunch of clones. So if you've got all these different clones, they would all have distinct personalities. Even Kevin Hart said that he uses different ones for different things. Like if he's got to go here, he sends this one. If he's got to go there, he sends this. So I don't know if he keeps a closet full or if he's just, I think he's bringing to the surface the truth. Like it may not be him making the decisions. Because you got to think about like how I was talking about these people, like they've got 350 million or whatever. Well, they've still got these bankers on charge of their stuff. They've got fucking managers, agents. They've got a banking system of control over what it is that they do, how they spend the money, where they go. Like they don't have, people think like they've got the life. I don't think that they have all the freedom that people think they have. And I think that there's a lot of control and a lot of moral dilemma because you have someone else telling you what to do. And and it depends on what you're willing to sell, what you're willing to give up to follow along with what these people's demands are. So it's all moral fucking questions. It's all moral dilemma for the soul to experience, to understand itself. So that is why when you start really looking at life through moral dilemma, through this direction or that direction, which way do I go? What happens with this? What happens with that? And to recognize the parts, that you're supposed to be expanding on, like healing your insecurities, not having these people solve them with their fucking science and stuff, because their science isn't solving anything. The pill that they hand you isn't fixing anything. The only thing it's doing is making another part of you sicker so that you need a second pill. So and that's what they want. And they want to keep you distracted because a healed person is a strong person. You're not going to put up with bullshit. That's the thing. That's why as we heal, it's like, no, you have fucking insurance, fuck off with this shit. And they're going to come at me. I don't know. I mean, still got to see how that plays out. Still got the house thing to play out. But I still say that we've got, luck on our side. We've got the light on our side. The light is, I think enough of the dark is repressed. Like, I think that there already is so much that they don't have control over. What was that, too? There's something, was it the 17th? I don't know. There was some video about that Congress was going to vote on if they should just shut down the Federal Reserve or something like that. So, see, this money and this crazy talk and all this stuff is going to keep coming. People were just like, oh my God. So they just go in and vote like And the people who are hanging on all the political stuff has got to keep blowing up. They got to keep seeing so that they become more outraged. And that's what the whole thing is. Everything playing out is for people to wake up and become outraged so that they can pull free from this controlling system. They've controlled our food, they control our air, they control our resources, they control our time, they control our self-image, they control our mind. There's a lot of shit to pull free from. And the whole thing is going towards your truth. Your truth is your spirit. So going and leaning into all spiritual stuff. But that's why they infiltrated spirituality with a bunch of phony ass bullshit. And more things, buy more things, get more crystal, do this, do that. And it's like, go to this retreat, go do this drug, do this, do that. No, you don't need any of that. All you need is you and some quiet time and ability to have reflection and connection. There's a whole fucking universe out there waiting to connect with you. Your higher self is just waiting there all the time. And they're always willing to communicate. I still say that so many people are so trapped in the dark energy that they can't hear the voice of sanity because they've got so much insanity screaming in their ear. And right now, the energy is so motherfucking intense. I can't even believe it. Like every single day I get up and it's like, oh my God. It's like Christmas morning or something. It's like, oh, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Oh my God, what's about to happen? So excited. And it's like, and it's been going and going and going. This super excitement. It's like, it's got to be the buildup. It's got to be, we've got to be so close on the edge of everything turning in our favor. Even though as things fall apart, it's not going to feel like that for so many people. Like that's going to be a process to get to that. But I've already been in this process. Like I've been doing this for a long fucking time. So it's going to be like a fucking the best thing. And there's a lot of people. There's people who were, waking up before 2016, and I had my own. We all have our own journey. My journey started with a brain injury, taking me off balance, and then having me have to reevaluate and look at life in so many different ways. And then the loss of the last relationship that I was in, where I was a relationship junkie. I had to hit rock bottom. And that reevaluation, that was when I went through the dark night. And then it was to start building up. Then it was like all of my psychic abilities or all of that communication with the universe just stepped up. Like all of these, I started having crazy experiences all the time. It was just like, whoa. And then you try and talk to people and people aren't even anywhere near awake. This was before quarantine. And so there was nobody awake. People thought I was whacked out. And I was fucking putting pictures of Nibiru on Facebook. I was showing chemtrail on Facebook and stuff. And I lost that account. I didn't even know at the time. Like, I thought I was really hacked. Now it's like, oh, that was a setup fucking bullshit. They just wanted me off of there. And that's why they didn't help me get my account back or anything. And that was a big account. I've lost so many big accounts. It's just like, yeah, now I'm on this TikTok one and it keeps going up and up. And it's like, I'm not going to stress out about it. Like, they just take them away. It doesn't, you can't get all caught up in it. They just take shit away from us, to get us upset. And you just got to heal through it. Don't stuff your pain. Like, if you feel pain from it, you got to go through it and really think it deeper. Don't just get hung up on, oh, TikTok's such a dick. No, you got to go through your process of seeing what it is that you're losing, why you feel the way you feel, how to process through the loss, and because those are the parts of you that you're healing. So you've got to go through those parts. But once I had gone through those parts, and then once I was feeling good, that's when I got my trigger. That was in fucking 17. I was 17. And so, I've been doing this for a while. So yeah, this, the change to me is going to be super exciting. That's why I feel like I get so excited about it. Like I can feel it coming. It feels so exciting. It's so exciting. Good things are about to be happening. It's going to be hard though for a lot of people. It's going to be like their whole world is ripped out from under them. It's going to be like all their self-esteem is destroyed. They're so confused, like their whole concept of what life was and where they were and everything. It's like the existential crisis, and that's what they have to face. Hopefully you guys have been able to hear me. She's really snoring up a storm. So anyways, but I guess that's our talk for the day. I didn't, it was funny because I had all this stuff going in my mind, but I had no idea. Like I was having no, like I'm still feeling so weird, like so weird. I feel like I'm in a dream. It's all a dream. I'm in a dream. So anyways, I'm gonna go back to sleep now. I'm gonna stay up. I'm gonna go make banana bread, I think. But I mean the dream. Well, anyways, you get what I'm saying. So, anyways, remember to love yourself, to love everyone, and have a loving day. And I'll talk to you later. Bye.